Welcome to our Saturday, Sunday weekend Bucky call. We're doing Critical Path. And we actually are chunking through this book. We're approaching half. So, but we definitely will finishing the other part. Part of this will be going next year. Although, you know what? There's a lot of concordance and stuff at the end. So we might finish this. Woo! And then he's got some calendar events here. So there's probably around 400 pages. We're at page 200, so maybe we're only halfway through. Okay, good. Manu, how are you feeling tonight? What do you expect to get out of tonight's call?
I feel good. I'm happy that at least the three of us are here. And we can continue on this very important study of critical path, and that we can continue to understanding better the principles and then applying them to our environment, to our local, and as far as possible to solving problems. That's what I expect to get from here. Joe, how do you feel? What do you expect?
I feel a little bit fatigued, but I'm happy to be here. It is, I'm glad everybody showed up. I know that Steve, you made a big effort to get here on time, driving 4 hours, and Manu, you're up at 5 a.m. So it's encouraging and inspiring, I should say, to have everybody here. My expectations is that I'm going to learn something new and get lost in the material for a couple of hours before I go back to reality. Steve, how do you feel? What are you taking away from the day?
I'm feeling pretty good. I did drive a while, and I'm on a new sleep regimen, and I'm trying to figure out what that's about. But I'm glad to be here and glad to continue our discussion. I'm a little bit frustrated because the page number that I have here on the screen in front of me is slightly different than the book that I have in front of me. So that bothers me. If anybody can look at the copy of there it is, Geoscope. That's page 161.
No, we're further than that.
Well, they're chapter 5, the Geoscope. I don't know.
We just finished the Geoscope, and wanted to start only the 6/1000th of a 3.5 billion known.
I don't have the right place marked then?
I have it. It's page 1. We were actually on page 164, but let's just take it from 163. You know where you have the picture of the strings with the two spheres.
Yeah. Well, there's 26.
No, just before that, yes. Just go. Yeah, that's where we were.
I thought we got past that and we went through figure 28 and 29. There it is in 1964. Okay, good. So it's right down here. And there it is in 1964. We're at the bottom of page 165. I don't know why that is saying that. This should be 166. I think what screwed up my thing is there's a bunch of graphics here. So, but that's what they are in the book, and that'll be cool. I'm going to mark this book that I started here on this time, and we're ready to proceed. I'm sorry for the lack of organization. Thank you for your coaching and assistance. All right. I'll read a paragraph. Let's pass it around a little bit.
Okay.
In 1964, the United States Information Agency asked me to consider the design of a building and an exhibition that might be adopted as the United States entry into the Montreal World's Fair of 1967, later known as Expo 67. I wonder if that had anything to do with that typo right there. That's kind of interesting. The Geoscope. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's the title heading. Oh, and this is the beginning of page 167. I have it right. Good, because of those other drawings. Like I thought, the drawings have thrown off the page numbers a little bit. I made a personal and I made a proposal, and the exhibition part of it was rejected. I was asked to continue, however, as the architect of the USA building to house an exhibition designed by others, insofar as I know, as the only one considered as architect of that building, of the building. I think this was because of the success the United States had experienced in my 1954 World Around air-delivered geodesic dome trade fair pavilions and the USA Moscow exhibit dome of 1959, which was purchased by the Russians as a permanent building after the United States exhibition was concluded. Fortunately, as the USA Geodesic Dome for Expo 67 proved a success, fortunately, it did prove a success. Also, but more gradually, it is being realized by many that my rejected idea for the American exhibit is looming into even greater prominence as a highly desirable social facility. I will therefore review the concept and development of my original idea. I told the United States Information Agency in 1964 that by 1967, the regard of the rest of the world for the United States would be at its lowest ebb in many decades, if not in the total 2 centuries of the USA's existence. Since each country's World's Fair exhibit would be well published all around Earth, I felt that it would be very important that the United States do something that would tend to regard the spontaneous admiration and confidence of to regain the spontaneous admiration and confidence of the whole world. This could be done by inaugurating an Expo 67, a computerized exploration for the most universally creative and economically sound internal and external USA policy formulation. What I proposed was based on an observation that the world people have become extraordinarily confident in the fundamental reliability of the computer and its electronically controlled processes. I know that a great many people will contradict me, but I had predicted by conviction of society's subconsciously established confidence in the computer's reliability upon vital, therefore undeniable behavior facts. On the working assumption that humanity had established implicit confidence in the computers and automated instrumentation, I proposed in 1964 that the United States Expo 67 exhibition should have a 400-foot diameter, 5/8 sphere building, similar in shape to the 250-foot diameter building actually built in Expo 67. So it's a much bigger building. In the basement of this building would be housed an extraordinary computer facility. On entering the building by 36 external ramps and escalators leading in at every 10 degrees of the circumferential direction, the visitors would arrive upon a great balcony reaching completely around the building's interior quarter-mile perimeter. The visitors would see an excitingly detailed 100-foot diameter world globe suspended high within the 400-foot diameter, 5/8 sphere main building. Cities such as New York, London, Tokyo, and Los Angeles would appear as a flattened out basketball-sized blotches with the tallest buildings and the radio towers only about 1/16 of an inch high. You know what? This is sounding a lot like the sphere that they just built in Las Vegas that's actually taking the world by storm. Have you heard about this big sphere in Las Vegas? U2 has got a residency.
Oh, yeah.
They're appearing every Friday for the first 2 months or something there. Periodically, the great spherical what?
I think actually it's worth mentioning is this the behavioral comment that he had made.
Yeah.
That if you go back up a little bit, Was he referring to the personal computer, I think, at that particular?
Oh, because he talked about having a whole room full of computer.
Right, but he talked about how it would capture behavioral facts or something like that.
Yeah, here it is, behavior right here, behavior facts. What he said is, what I proposed was based on my observation that world people had become extraordinarily confident in the fundamental reliability of the computer and its electronically controlled processes. I know that a great many people will contradict me, but I had predicted my conviction of society's subconsciously established confidence in the computer's reliability upon vital, therefore undeniable behavior facts. So he's just predicting that everybody would like the computer.
But in the behavior facts is interesting because of all the information and the behaviors that they're actually used to market and to actually that they're able to measure. Now there was no internet at this time, so to a certain degree, that's pretty impressive that he was just talking about how computers were going to be capturing behaviors in a certain way. Anyway.
I have another view of this.
Okay.
Is it possible to draw a parallel between the 60s and computer chip and the position of the US and the 2010s, like the 2010 to 2020 or 20 or now time, and then the computer chip and AI and the US position as observed by Becky in terms of the moral standing of the US and that of today, and what kind of solution can be made to rebound that image of the US. If you read,
I don't know. That's a big question.
you see what he say. He say he made a proposal on the basis of his conviction that by 1967, the regard of the rest of the world for the United States would be at its lowest ebb in many decades, if not in the total 200 centuries of US existence.
Yeah, this is the time of the Vietnam War.
Yes, yeah. But look at that today with Ukraine,
Right.
with Palestine, and all of this thing, and the position that the US is taking. Is there something else that can be done technologically to really shift the minds around and really reveal the true spirit of America? It's a general question.
Yeah.
But I think that today, in terms of internationally, the US standing is low compared to other years.
It's been low for I don't know, since 2016. I don't know if you want to draw any parallels there, but and I think actually it was even low longer than that, ever since George Bush. We've been doing things unilaterally, and so our image is actually it's garbage, and rightfully so.
But without getting, I would like to get in the spirit of Bucky to say, okay, can you use technology as an answer to that? Let's just say all the challenges. We started this call by watching that that video of a solar panel. That is kind of catching fire, but nobody's thinking yet about the leftovers of a solar. When the panels are retired, what do we do of them? There's a lot of fears in the world about AI, right? Can something be deployed in a way to assuage those fears and to show the side of enhancement of lives, of exchanges, of peace in the world that can offer? Because for now, the use of it has been that of warmongering. Is who has the best drones in the world, who has the best bombers, who can control energy, who can do this, who can do that, right? That's the language from each side. Wherever you go in the world, it's a muscle flexing. I can do, I am this, I'm challenging that one like this. Can the real language, the true language of love and peace be fostered somewhere and ushered in?
I think it's possible.
Steve, I would like to hear from you on that.
I'm not really tracking it. I mean, what I've been looking at this at the Sphere in Las Vegas, comparing the size with what Bucky did in '67 and before, or what he proposed for '67. So I'm not sure about that. I wasn't tracking it. I wasn't following you. I was trying to get this data because I thought I was focusing on the Sphere. And so you're focusing on United States reputation?
No, I'm saying, Becky who says that morally the moral standing of US in the world in 1964, in the 60s, came down, really.
Yeah.
Right? And he says his proposal was to do this globe, this 400 feet diameter thing, where you could have spirals and those that allow you to see a suspended sphere. So you could see it from different angles. And the idea was to ingrain in people that we actually indwellers of the same spaceship, Earth. Because that represented Earth. And you could see it as it's telling from different perspectives for what it is like to see it from outer space. That little blue dot and the different appearances. So it gave people a measure of the relative importance that we actually do have. And I think it designed to shift the minds, really, and the perceptions of what we actually were believing or we were taught to be. And I'm saying those similar challenges are today. Technology has gone, bounds. I mean, the capabilities of today by far dwarf the capabilities of then, right? But yet we have the same fears, and we kind of have the same behaviors, warmongering. We don't want to see to use what we have in the way to foster living great, right? So how can something like that be imagined today to kind of assuage the world?
Yeah, I think assuaging the world. Yeah, I don't know.
So we desperately need peace, to be truthful, desperately.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
And
we do.
war is being forced upon peace lovers.
I agree with you, Mano.
Yeah.
It's a
And unfortunately, peace requires understanding. War doesn't require understanding. War that is the ideology. If it's not, okay, I wipe you out, or we go to fight. The winner take off. Peace requires me to anticipate what you think, what Joe thinks, and see how I can build that as a puzzle to create a pattern, a fractal that is stable for a while, and is much more difficult. Because you are dealing with all the variables of the environment. And then the variable within, the set is quite difficult. Anyway, that was my little ramble.
Yeah. Well, I would like to, any comments on that, Joe?
No, I appreciate that and that contribution now.
I still seem to be all excited about the dimensions of the of this dome. Bucky says that his dome, I proposed in '64 a 400-foot diameter 5/8 sphere. I'm sure that 3/8 would be not visible, 5/8 would be visible. That would be a building, and then inside of it would be suspended a model of 100-foot diameter globe suspended high in the 400-foot diameter building. So here's this new globe they've built in Las Vegas. It's called a sphere. And this is the structure right here. And there are LEDs on the outside where they can, like, here's the picture of the moon over here. You see the second one? And here's the construction thing. And then here's a future, Picasso thing. And then, of course, over here's this eyeball. And the idea is that you can have, there are thousands, maybe tens of thousands of LEDs on this thing, so that the outside, here's a picture of the Earth, kind of, and here's some just futuristic designs. Here's some over here in this lower section is a construction of this thing, but the dimensions of this thing are, oh, here's some pictures that I found. Here's the construction of the project. That's some of the pictures, and that this is inside of the thing. There's 18,000 people can sit inside of this thing. U2 is playing in concert there, and they're doing all sorts of things up here that are projecting all sorts of virtual reality things up there. So the size of this thing is
How many people can get in there?
18,000 people. It's
That's a lot.
366 feet tall. And Bucky was proposing a 400-foot tall dome. This is 516 feet wide. He wanted to have a 100-foot diameter globe suspended under it. 400-foot diameter. So this thing is just a little bit smaller than Bucky's. And they built it, and it's a smash hit.
Yeah.
This is 2024, and he's proposed this back in 1967.
Yeah. But Bucky's, the essence of Bucky's push for spherical buildings was also educative. You live and you are educated. So the way you perceive things, you can now perceive spheres. You can see its user space. You can see how many ways the rectangular building, has. So it was that to me, that's the whole concept. 18,000, quite a lot.
Yeah, 17,600.
Yeah.
10,000 seats are provide immersive experience with specialized sound system so that everybody can feel the sound. And so so 7,000 don't have the prime thing. 516 foot wide, 157 meters. High resolution LED screen. There's a screen on the outside and a screen on the inside, so they can project two different things over it. Its interior, a 16K display, 16,000 by 16,000 pixels, 250 million pixel, 256 million pixels in all. Well,
And how is it powered? Just answer that question.
from the outset, we designed Sphere to minimize environmental impact and to help create a sustainable operation. Sphere Entertainment, the company behind the Las Vegas, announced that about 70% of the venue's energy would come from solar power. So evidently, the big dome up there is collecting solar power.
Mhm.
Who owns that Sphere? Of course, it's a private entertainment company. With U2 as its first performer in residency.
Wow.
Why does the Sphere overheat? It seemed for the vast majority of people who made the trek to Las Vegas this weekend to see U2 open the $2 billion state-of-the-art venue, it actually cost $2.3 billion to make this thing. The Sphere, they were more for a novelty. Oh, it didn't actually talk about the temperature. How long did it take to build it? 5 years. How much did it cost? 2.3 billion. Oh, how much is YouTube getting paid? 10 million US. Guaranteed $4 million per show. Jeez. How many speakers? 160,000 speakers to convey the sign. I think there's even the entire experience is designed to program 4 out of the 5 senses that light, sound, touch, and smell. So if you're watching the film about oranges, then the place smells like oranges. It's supposed to be just an amazing experience. All right.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, let's continue. So here we are with Bucky pumping it away. And now they've finally built a Sphere that's his Sphere he proposed was a 400-foot diameter dome. And this one is 366 feet. So it depends. He wanted, yeah, I don't know. Okay, good. Where do we?
I'd start. No, I think it'll help me.
I think right here. We just start right here.
Yeah.
Is that good? You want to read, Joe? You have?
Yeah, please.
All right.
Periodically, the great spherical Earth would have been seen to be transforming slowly into an icosahedron, a polyhedron with 20 equilateral triangle facets. Facets. I don't want to say phase.
Yeah, that's okay.
The visitors would witness that in the processes of these transformations, there are no visible changes in the relative size and shape of any of the land and water mass of the 100-foot diameter miniature Earth. Slowly, the 100-foot diameter icosahedronal Earth surface would be seen to be parting along with some of its triangle edges. as the whole surface slowly opens mechanically as an orange's skin or an animal's skin might be peeled carefully in one piece, with slits introduced into its perimeter at various places. It would be relaxed to subside into a flattened out pattern as is a bearskin rug. The icosahedral Earth's shell thus would be seen to gradually flatten out and be lowered to the floor of the building. The visitors would realize that they have now, looking at the whole of the Earth's surface simultaneously without any visible distortion of the relative size and shape of the land and sea masses having occurred during the transformation from sphere to the flattened out condition we call a map. My cartographic projection of the six ocean world functions in just such a manner as I have just now described. The stretched out football field size world map would disclose the continents arrayed as one world island and one world ocean with no breaks in the continental contours. Its scale would be 1/500,000th of reality, 3 millimeters or 1/8 be less than 1 millimeter or only 1/5 of an inch in length. A major airport's runway would each be about 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch long. A major football stadium would measure less than 1 millimeter or 1/5 of an inch long at this scale. The great map would be wired throughout, so the mini bulbs, so that the mini bulbs closely installed all over its surface could be lighted by the computer and at appropriate points to show various accurately positioned proportional data regarding world conditions, events, and resources. World events would occur and transform on this live world's map ever evolving face. If we had 100,000 light bulbs, for instance, each mini light bulb could represent 40,000 people. A medium-sized town, Mexico City, New York City, or Tokyo would be a cluster of 250 bulbs. The bulbs could be computer distributed to represent the exact geographical distribution positioning of the people. Military movements of 1 million troops would be dramatically visible. The position of every airplane in the sky and every ship on the world ocean could be computer controlled displayed. Interesting. Weekend and holiday exoduses from cities into the country or travel. But this could be a big problem for me. I'm not feeling well.
Yeah.
To other cities would be vividly displayed by computer controlled tallying instruments.
So he had this idea of really showing everybody who would look at it how we were living on one planet all together, and it would give them a chance for everybody to see everybody all at once, represented by 250,000 people per light bulb, roughly about that, right? Oh, 250 bulbs a cluster.
Right.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, what he was showing is to show everybody in the arena this experiment.
Yeah.
If you know, this is the icosahedron, right?
Okay.
And then you just unfold it. You are unfolding that you're unfolding the icosahedron progressively. No landmass will be cut.
Right.
This is what you were saying there. Flatten, 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 flatten. That's what people will see.
All right.
And then you
I
can
mean,
just, yeah, you can just again, right. It's a little bit more difficult to putting them together. Yeah. There's a mistake here. This had to be in here. This
Right.
one.
We can't see what you're doing because it's below line level, but you have to put
Yeah,
the
I'm
black
saying
thing-
this one,
black
this
things
one,
have to be underneath. Yeah.
yeah, this has to be inside here, like that.
Right.
There you have it again.
Right. Cool.
The whole stuff was educative.
Right.
Yeah.
Is to learn to teach people that you can identify those dimensions, you can identify that clearly, and then and the continuous distortion, I mean like modification of a form of our globe
Right.
over millions of years has espoused what we know today. The oceans were not always what they are, but they are still linked. You get me?
Right.
They are not real islands on this world.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll ever get the Sphere in Las Vegas to provide, and I'm sure there will be something to provide some meaningful way to represent. But having that globe be a sphere up there and then have it come down and be a map, that is pretty profound of a thing.
But with that transformation, notice that the first thing that he said was from a globe to an icosahedron, to a structure,
Right.
which is the most expanded.
Right.
So what they do for the experiment is that with light, they flatten the triangles such a way that it become like this. But it's slowly changing. You wouldn't see it because sphere does not really exist.
Yeah.
And then because we have changed it into this ICO, which is equilateral triangles that are all linked, 20 faces that are all linked, covering that surface, then you can open them. That is expansion, all right?
Right.
To the maximum, to infinite, because when you open it to flat, the impression is that it just goes to infinity. And that's what the impression that you have when you are at sea. If you are at sea, open sea, you think that if you are not for light, and even if you are not educated in that, you think that the sea extends forever, isn't it?
Yeah. He also, in what we just read, he wanted to have every airplane in the sky and every ship in the world oceans could be computer controlled, displayed through these light bulbs on this thing. Weekend and holiday exoduses from cities into the country or travel to other cities could be vividly displayed by computer controlled tally systems. And I said it wrong. 100,000 lights, for instance, each mini bulb would represent 40,000 people. So every time a mini bulb moved around, it would be 40,000 people moving. So he wanted to show the migration of people in the cities working, moving out to the countryside. That's very interesting. So he wanted to, and then he goes on to talk about some more things here. Let's continue. Manu, do you want to read?
Yeah, just see from, okay, I propose that, which one? Okay,
Yeah,
I propose that, am I correct there? Yes.
Yeah.
I propose that on this stretch out, reliably accurate world map of our spaceship Earth, a great world logistics game be played by introducing into the computers all of the known inventory, and whereabouts of the various metaphysical and physical resources of the earth. This inventory, which took 40 years to develop to highly perfection, is now housed at my headquarters. We will then enter into the computer all the inventory of human trends, known needs, and fundamental behavioral characteristics. I propose that individuals and teams will undertake to play the world game with those resources, behavior, trends, vital needs, development desirable, and regenerative inspirations. The players as individuals on teams will each develop their own theory of how to make the total world work successfully for all of humanity. Each individual or team will play a theory through the end of a pre-declared program. It could be played with or without competitors. The objective of the game would be to explore ways to make it possible for anybody and everybody in the human family to enjoy the total earth without any human interfering with any other human and without any human gaining advantage at the expense of another.
Cool.
So you have Lamarckian marked there in the sphere. Okay, I think we've already discussed this to see how continuous it is.
Yeah. There's this.
Yeah.
There's this I'll read for a bit.
Okay.
To accomplish the game's objective, the resources, pathways, and dwelling points around the surface of our 8,000-mile diameter spherical spaceship Earth must be fully employed by the players in such a way that the world's individual humans would each be able to exercise complete actional discretion and would have such freedom of decision regarding the investment of their time in their waking hours that they would be able to travel independently or in groups, either to and fro, locally or continuing intermittently on around the world, dwelling from time to time here or there, finding everyone facilities to accommodate their needs in an uncompromising manner. The game would seek to use the world's resources, inter processes, and evolutionary developments in such a way that all the foregoing would be possible. Now, have you guys played the world game before?
No, I haven't.
No,
Okay,
it's funny you're saying that because somebody reached out to me recently wanting to lead a meetup on the World Game, and he claims to have known Buckminster Fuller.
cool. I think Kelly played the world game, and I think Susan has. And I think Henry did. They talked about it a little bit. Whether they did or not, or just talked about it, I don't know. Do you want to? I mean, I don't want you to torture yourself, Joe. But if you want to read a paragraph, we'll swap around. And if you want to take a break,
Sure. No, I want to keep going here. It was to satisfy the same need of humanity to comprehend the total planetary, all of evolutionary historical significance of each day's developments. The 200-foot or 60-meter diameter geoscope was developed. The geoscope is a gossamer open trusswork spherical structure wherewith humanity can see and read all the spherical data of the Earth's geography as seen from either its inside or its outside in its proper inner orientation within the theater of local universe events. When completely installed and ready for use, all geoscopes are oriented so that their polar axes are always parallel to the Earth's north-south polar axis. With the latitude and longitude of the installed geoscope's zenith point always corresponding exactly with the latitude of longitude of the critically located point on our real Earth at which the geoscope is installed. as a consequence of the polar axis and zenith correspondences of the geoscope mini Earths and the real Earth, it will be found that the miniature Earth geoscopes real omnidirectional celestial theater orientation always corresponds exactly with the real omnidirectional celestial theater orientation of the real planet Earth.
Wow. Let's
Syn-
sort it around. Let's
yeah,
sort
that
of,
was a lot.
yeah. Any thoughts or comments on that? He's really trying to teach everybody about the processes that the planet goes through and how people are part of these processes.
Right. And he
But
makes
that,
that analogy.
I think that he's teaching a little bit what you can get at the pyramid of learning. If you learn through playing games, you get a lot.
Right.
Yes. And the critical role that game play in education. I think that's
Right.
what I get from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really want people to change, you make them leave the situation in a non-threatening way. That is the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great point, Manu, in a non-threatening way.
Okay, Manu, do you want to read Since the Two Spheres?
Oh, yes. Since the two spheres, mini Earth and real Earth, are rigidly coupled together tangentially at the same latitude longitude point on the real Earth as the latitude longitude zenith point in the geoscope sphere, the geometrical orientation attitude brought about by their respective actual rotation and orbital travel around the sun will be identical. The geoscope has the same relationship to the Earth as has one of the relatively small lifeboats mounted fore and aft on the davits of the ocean cruise ship to the big ship itself. If the big ship changes, it causes from north to east, the lifeboat does likewise. If the
Bow.
bow rises and falls in a head on sea, so too does the bow of a davits mounted lifeboat. The 4,000-mile, 146th light second distance existing between the center of the Earth sphere and that of a geoscope sphere mounted on Earth's surface is astronomically negligible when compared to any of the celestial distances. The distance from Earth to its nearest star, the Sun, is 92 million miles, or 8 light minutes away. The next nearest star is 25 trillion miles away. Such essentially negligible distances are 4,000 miles are cancelled out as visibly unappreciable. Such negligible distances are called parallax by the astronomer or navigator. Standing at night with your eyes at the center of such geoscope, miniature Earth, and viewing the stars outwardly through its flat screen surface, on which are thinly outlaid all the contours of all the world's conditions, you will see that exact relationship of all the stars of the Earth's surface. Any star in zenith over any one geographical point on Earth can be verified to be in zenith at that moment over the point on Earth by telephoning someone at that point. What you will see from the center of mini Earth at any time is exactly what you will see if one were safely stationed at the center of real planet Earth and had X-rays eyes and could look outwardly through 4,000 miles of matter to see the star viewable in zenith outwardly of any one given geographical point of our actually spinning, sun-orbiting sphere Earth at any one given moment. As viewed from its center, geoscope becomes a true planetarium. no imitation stars and no imitation sky. In the geoscope, we have the real stars in the real sky in exact zenith position as seen through the geoscope's spherical triangle windows outwardly and around our Earth sphere in all directions of any given moment. As our Earth revolves and zooms along its sun orbit within a vast environment.
Cool. You want to pause there? So he's going to have a planetarium experience here and teach everybody about the stars as well as the natural resources. Remember when he did that history over who has the iron and who has the phosphorus and who has all those things? He was gonna map those out in this on this map so everybody could see exactly where the resources are. Now he's going to show us where the planets are. That's cool.
Yeah, if he could do something with asteroid mining, he would even have raw materials for that. There are people that are trying to do things with that.
Right on. Do you want to read from Because, Joe? I mean, if you need a
Yeah,
rep,
sure.
All
No,
right.
that's fine. Because the real planet Earth is revolving around its north-south polar axis, so too is mini Earth. They are both thus revolving without affecting any change of the observed position of Polaris, the North Star. In respect to mini Earth, North Pole, therefore, the observer at the center of the geoscope feels some spontaneously the celestial fixity not only of Polaris, but also of all the other stars as seen outwardly through the geoscope's triangular windows, because outwardly of geoscope's equator, what we can see of the starry scene is changing most rapidly and ever less rapidly until looking out along the polar axis we observe no change. We get the same feeling as we do looking out the window of a railway, a car, automobile, or airplane. We see and feel the scene changing as a consequence of our vehicle's motion and not of the scenery's motion. For the first time in human experience, Geoscope's mini-Earth spherical structure is clearly seen and felt to be revolving within the theater of the universe, and those holding steady their bodies, heads and their eyes are standing at the Geoscope center. Their Earth revolving within the vast theater of the starry sky. With geoscopes locally available around the world, all children experiencing its true celestial event orientations will feel themselves being rotated around from west to east by the Earth to be shaded from the sun's light by the rolling around Earth's western horizon, which deep shadowing they will call night. They will feel the western horizon to be rotating around with them and to be obscuring or eclipsing the sun. They will spontaneously say sunclipse instead of sunset. In the same way, they will say spontaneously sunlight is the morning as the Earth revolves the sun into seeability, thus spontaneously acquiring two-syllable, truly meaningful words to replace the two-syllable misinformative but poetical words of their ancestry, sunset and sunshine.
and of course he called it sunsight.
Right.
Yeah.
The new education technology of world man will of equal emergency emerged, critical necessity to come to produce and use the geoscopes as basic educational tools for acquiring both cosmic and local experience. That's interesting. critical path or critical path orientation, it will be universally used as the visual reference for all hourly news broadcasts everywhere around the earth. Geoscope will spontaneously induce total Earth, total humanity viewing significance in regard to all our individual daily experiences. It will spontaneously eliminate nationalistic cerebrating. The most useful informative model of the geoscope now under consideration is a 200-foot diameter structurally Gauss mirror look into able and look out able geodesic sphere to be suspended with its bottom 100 feet above ground by approximately invisible cables strung tautly from the tops of 3 remotely erected 200-foot high masts. The vast of computer selected colored miniature electric light bulbs displayed on the spherical frame surface of the 200-foot diameter geoscope with their intensity and diminutive size as well as the minimum distance of 100 feet from viewing eyes, as seen from either the center of the sphere or from the ground outside and 100 feet below, will together produce a visually continuous surface which picture equal in detailed resolution to that of a fine screen halftone print or that of an excellent omnidirectional viewable spherical television tubes picturing. It may well be that by the time the first 200-foot geoscope is undertaken, we may be able to develop a spherical TV tube of that size or complex or a complex of spherical coordinated TV tubes. This giant 200 feet in diameter sphere will be a miniature Earth, the most accurate global representation of our planet Earth to be realized.
Let's pause right there. So like he's, right now they can build televisions just like he's talking about with LED screens. They can put them in any shape they want them in. That's so interesting. So he's being very visionary here. And this idea of being able to see the world and the activity, watch the news in the place where it's happening. That's kind of exciting. Did anybody else get anything else out of that kind of caught their attention?
Well, in education, even today, you can go through your education, the whole stuff. You just hear about Polaris, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Seeing Polaris is seeing the world centered on the North Pole.
Right.
Right? But there is Sigma or Octantis.
There's what?
Sigma Octantis.
I don't Sigma what? Spell that.
Sigma.
Yeah.
Let me just Sigma.
What's the second word?
Octantis.
Spell that word, please. Is
I
this?
put it in the chat.
Oh, you put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just check it.
Yeah, I see it. Sigma Octantis, Octantis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you pull the definition of it?
Yeah. Do you want just Octantis or do you want Sigma as
Sigma
well?
Octantis. Sigma, the both. It's like Polaris.
A solitary star in the Octans constellation that forms the pole star of the southern hemisphere. Okay.
You see we see the meaning of it in that view, because what Becky was speaking about here, he spoke about technically about the pair of poles. of the Earth,
Right.
right? When you talk about the Gossamer, then you can see in through in and
Yeah.
in out. You could see that there are two poles,
Right.
right?
Right.
The two poles relatively of a space of a constellation that you are looking are the poles of that constellation. They don't move. And the constellation that had the Earth has that. And everything, every orientation is towards that. But the way we've been educated on something that is temporary, because in actual fact, Polaris is currently the North Pole.
Yeah.
But you know that pole switch, right? They switch.
Every 10th.
I don't know every hour, but over
in
eons,
millions of years. Yeah.
yes, they switch. They're
Yeah.
not always the Polaris has not always been a northern
Star.
hemisphere.
Yeah.
You know, so there will be a time when Octantis will be like that. They will switch. You get, but what Becky is trying to do here is to change education
Right.
and the perspective, you know, the way we think, because we design as we think. Right? So to think about the inventory of all the resources in a transparent way of our planet is really giving up on nationalities, isn't it? Because that's the consequence, the logical consequence of it.
Absolutely.
Right.
That is turning upside down the whole model that you have today.
Yeah.
You know, kind of mobilizing capital, going and signing conventions and agreements that lock the right to explore or to do something to the benefit of one company or a group of companies, right?
Plus the fact, like you said, that the news would be projected on what's actually going on in that place on the planet. So if they were having a war, that would be shown over there on that television, and they over here they're having a party. And it would just bring to this thing that we're on this planet together, and it's so easy right now. I think the only place in the universe is Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm just really sorry you guys don't live here.
But you gave the example of this globe that is in Las Vegas, where if you know U2 is playing in concert and people are sitting all around.
Yeah.
But the pictures are projected on, let's just say, pixels.
Yeah.
On the globe, on the inside of a globe, at the surface of light. So the feeling that you have, because you can see everybody.
Right.
You can see scenes. You know, reproduction of a thing is not, you can see it now, you know, convex, not concavely, but convexly.
Yeah.
You know,
the way the sphere in Las Vegas works is everybody's looking at U2, all the 18,000 seats. Nobody's in the middle looking out at everything, seeing the globe. That's you know, Bucky's idea is to really bring people tune in to the fact that we're on a globe, and that a person can't see everything going on in the globe if they have the right perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, we can read for a little further here. I'll read for a while. I have produced several, and then I get this thing in my way. I have produced several fully working lesser diameter models of such geoscope or mini Earth facilities. Most notable was the 20-foot diameter one at Cornell University in 1952. What's that?
I remember that. Anyway, reading that.
The semi-completed 200-foot diameter one at the University of Minnesota in 1954-56, the 10-foot diameter one in Princeton University in 1955, and the semi-demonstrability, the 250-foot diameter three-quarter spherical structure used in the USA Pavilion in 1967 in Montreal, Canada, Expo 67 in Montreal, Canada in 1967. The 50-foot diameter geosphere permanently installed exactly astride the 19th meridian of our planet as the religious center of Southern Illinois Southern Illinois University's campus at Edwardsville, Illinois in 1970. To our 1953 to 55 University of Minnesota and Princeton University geoscope development classes, I suggested that our first 200 footers should serve as an everyday facility of the United Nations. You know, I wonder if any of those people who attended his classes in 1953 or 55 had anything to do with the Las Vegas Sphere.
Good now.
It's interesting. I don't know.
I wonder about that. I proposed that it be triangularly suspended from the top of a 300-foot high tower masts to be erected from a group of rock ledges in New York City's East River, known on the government charts as Blackwell's Ledges. These ledges are situated in the middle of the river of East River, a quarter of a mile south of what was once called Blackwell's Island. Then for 30 years, Welfare Island, and in the 1970s was renamed Roosevelt Island. All the East River water traffic running between New York's Lower Harbor and Long Island South, or the Harlem River, passes to the west of Blackwell's ledges. That is, between the ledges and the United Nations building. The tallest UN building is 400 feet high. I propose that the 200-foot geoscope sphere be hung above the ledges with its bottom 200 feet above the water, which would locate its top at the same 400-foot height as that of the UN building and 100 feet higher than the tops of the supporting masts. I propose that the intercabling of the mast tops and their tangentially triangling support of the tie down of the sphere be done with the high tensile and small diameter high carbon rod steel, so delicate that the dull black plated support system would be invisible. The geodesic tensegrity sphere being of such low weight as to make this invisibility highly feasible. Do you want to read some, Joe? If you need to rest, my friend. Don't push yourself.
It's okay.
I can read. Okay, Joe.
This would result in the 200-foot sphere seeming to be floating in midair as though it were a small celestial body that had come in very close to Earth at just the right location to make it highly visible to occupants of the UN building, as well as to all those in New York City in the vicinity of 5th Street. In designing the optimum public geoscope in 1950, I chose the 200-foot diameter, approximately transparent, gross mirror structured sphere because at the time the United States Air Force was, wherever possible, engaged in making radio triangulated, geographically accurate photographic maps of the whole Earth's surface. The airplane exact geographical position at the moment of photographing photographing was determined by electromagnetics. Geographical position fixed by cross triangulation from two known station points on Earth. The electromagnetic beam crossing triangulation triggered by the cameras accurately identified the position of the airplane at the moment of its photographing of any one picture as located on the latitude longitude coordinate grid of our Earth's planetary sphere. The Air Force's geographical photography work was known as the aerial photographic mosaicing of the world. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
With the USA entering into a third but coldly constructed, entertainingly
Conducted.
competing, small notion puppetry manipulated world war with the USSR and its allies. We can understand why it was that the USA was so intently flying those world around radio triangular photomosaic missions. The mosaic grid was flown over all those countries of the world that permitted the USA to do so. Different series of the photographic mosaicing were flown at different altitudes. The lowest flown altitude gave the greatest details. It was the communist country's prohibition against the USA's photographic mapping that caused the USA's to develop the Russian shot down ultra high flying U-2, hoping to accomplish the triangular task.
Triangulation task. Cool. So I'm not sure what this drawing of the proposed United Nations. Oh, that's the United Nations geoscope. He did it on yellow pad paper and stuck it in his book. Isn't that wonderful?
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, Manu, do you want to read? Any more discussion? I don't want to cut anybody off.
No,
Well, okay. I just saying that, you know, Bucky is always very educational, and I would like to know if we can check where 50th Street is in comparison to Wall Street in New York.
I don't know.
where is what?
50th Street, because he say he wanted the geoscope to be erected on some land that is in close view of the UN building. I understand the UN building and 50th Street, New York, 50th Street, yes. Are they close?
That's how close.
Okay. You understand what it is there?
24 minutes, 7 miles.
Okay. So visible. So he wanted to build a geoscope in such a way that the world of finance and just say the world of international politics
Right.
understand, because it was educational.
Yeah. He's trying to get the grunch, trying to get the giant pirates to notice what's going on.
Yes.
Here's another picture. I think what we can do is I'm going to grab this and I'm going to bring it down here. There's a picture, bird's eye view of the UN geoscope.
Yeah, that's the UN building, the rectangular building there.
Yeah. He wanted to be
that's the Hudson.
Yeah, he wanted to hit him over the head.
Yeah.
So that every day they would wake up and see what they're doing to the planet. Okay, here we go, Manu.
Okay. The optimum geoscope is designed to make practical and omnidirectional moving picture display on the surface of a large sphere for presenting all manner of information relevant to all human affairs as they occur around the whole of our planet, so that the whole world's population can learn for itself how to comprehend the significance of the world around information as compounded with other powerfully relevant, long known and broadcast news and other geoscope mounted information. Wow. The lowest level at which the Air Force radio triangulation fixing photo mosaicing was flown obviously produced the greatest detail. The Air Force did all the photographing on the moving picture industry's 35mm film. In photo industry lingo, contact prints are 35mm. Frame means actual unenlarged film frame size, black and white or color print about 2/4 × 2 VI square inch print. Wow. Contact of those 35 millimeter frames are photographed by the Air Force's lowest level mosaicing when assembled like a picture puzzle and pasted onto a balloon of the right size, altogether produce one united spherical surface picture of the whole Earth. The diameter of such a spherical picture globe made up of contact prints of the lowest level mosaicing is about 200 feet. The higher the level of mosaic flying, the smaller the sphere produced. Wow. Since I knew in 1950 that I could produce 200 foot diameter adequately strong but lightly thrust geodesic sphere, I determined to design a 200 foot geoscope. During World War II, the largest clean span steel thrust quadrangular lee-based airplane hangars, narrowest horizontal dimensions, thrust spannings built were approximately 200 feet wide. To make them a foot wider will have double the weight of the steel trusses. Wow. No clear span spherical structure of that size has ever been built anywhere in 1950. The structural engineering profession did not at that time assume that such a large, clear span spherical structure could be economically produced. As yet standing in prime position, St. Peter's 150-foot diameter marble dome in Rome over 400 years ago, and the Pantheon's equally excellent condition 150 diameters marble dome built in Rome about 100 years ago, were in 1950 history's largest clear span domes. In 1950, the largest ever steel frame radial arch dome of 150-foot diameter was built. Geodesic structures open up the ability of humans to build unlimited diameter clear span spherical structures. By 1958, I had built a clear span geodesic hemispherical dome of 384-foot diameter. Since then, they have gone to 700 feet in diameter, and they will keep on growing in clear span size at an ever faster rate until we enclose whole cities.
Let me pause right there just for a second. He's talking about, by the way, I just checked over here on this, what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 is what this was supposed to be. Google took over his project. The US started photographing everything, and now we have Google Earth. I just think this is so amazing that Google Earth, I mean, and then we got the sphere over here. So here are all these things that Bucky was talking about back in 1985 or 81, whenever he did this book, projects he'd built in the 50s and the 60s. And he was projecting all this to educate people as to what a small planet it is and how everybody gets to work together. And his education was put away, and now we're building sphere domes about the same size that he projected, 366 feet instead of 400 feet. Isn't that interesting? That it's almost exactly the same size. I wonder if any of these people went to Bucky classes or thought about it. Anyway, I just think this is so freaking amazing.
It is.
Other thing that is very useful is saying that because you remember ephemeralization,
Right.
and then building alloys that always take you a distance further. He says there's no limit.
Yeah.
They will progress until they can englobe the whole cities.
Yeah.
Right. Can you imagine the effectiveness of a city that is a dome, a big dome, and all trains run that way, all the rail.
Yeah. And he
then yeah.
No, go ahead.
And then you use the excrements for fertilizers, for whatever, like recycle everything, no waste.
Yeah.
It would be
So-
amazing.
Yeah, he wanted to take these U2 pictures of the world and actually put them on his domes so that we would have a Google map. We would have Google Earth on a geodesic dome.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow.
You just have to read the definition I'm reading here of what a geoscope is. He said a geoscope was proposed as an educational device like a planetarium, but also as a predictive tool, an immersive, interactive Earth that will enable its users to run scenarios, see long-term change, and project future trend through simulation, strategy, and story. That I'm just reading on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can put it on
Chat.
chat, please.
Do what?
Just put the definition of a geoscope, because we talk about geoscope. That was geoscope was proposed by Fuller. Before him, there was no geoscope. He coined and developed it and put a definition of geoscope. No, geoscope.
Yeah, I just was spelling it wrong. Okay.
But it's more complete than that. That is not enough.
Okay, that's not enough. Okay.
No, there's another one. If you ask the question, what does a geoscope do? Yes, because it is a predictive tool.
Where do you see the words predictive?
I have it here on, where is it? It comes on,
Oh, shoot. I meant to do it here.
yeah.
Did I spell it right?
If you say geoscope, what does a geoscope do? Just ask that question.
Oh, that was your question?
Yes, that's what I asked. And then I had that answer. What does a geoscope do? Yeah. There it is. I think that is better.
Okay. All right, it's in the chat for those for remembering. All right, we're at 9:50 my time. We're at 11:50 Joe's time. And we left off, I think we left off right here. That's where we're going to start next time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, really good. All right, good. Well, Joe, before you just pass out, listen, I'm exhausted tonight too, so I'm just, my heart goes out to you, my friend. How you
Yeah, I
feel?
feel like I'm coming down with something. That's the scary part. Yeah,
Ah.
when you're in the hospital all day. I just hope that's not the case. But I feel I'm glad we kept to the text. I think what really Bucky is talking about is something that is truly being transformed at this particular moment in time, and that is education. I was at a conference with a lot of advanced technologies, uh, and they talked about the idea of employment. And one of the things that uh, part of these plans were obviously workforce planning, what skills are going to be needed in the future. And it's not only how education is actually what it entails, but how it's delivered as well. I think that it needs to be reimagined. And the way I look at it is that, in a way, it's reimagined in a way that Bucky probably would have seen it much more holistically. I mean, if you think about, we started out tonight talking about the computer, and we went to geoscopes, and we were talking about Dymaxion maps and how the Earth is how we see the Earth. So, that's holistic thinking. And that's something that we need to really incorporate into any kind of education, but especially those being retrained because people have to re-educate themselves at some point. So in a way, holistic thinking allows you to be a little bit more versatile. Anyway, that's my major takeaway from this evening. Manu, how are you doing, my friend? What do you take away from today?
I'm really happy that we could make it. I think that it was very interesting part that the fact that, Joe, you're so tired. And I appreciate that, you and Steve too, that the two of you honor it, and stay, for the whole course. What I take away from here is that change of via education, the change of the inclination of using whatever that we have for the betterment of the whole.
Right.
I'm not saying that you are fostering lazy people. He didn't say so. He said that everybody in that so-called village, spherical village, will naturally adjust to what they are better for, they are best for, and do things that way. And the only way that you can do is you first have a macro view of it.
Right.
And Bucky was here in trying to build artifacts that allow us to understand that macro first before we zoom into, because once you understand the macro, then you can choose the most appropriate thing to do in the micro in order to effect the most effectively possible the global result, right?
Right.
So that's the biggest thing that I get from here is Bucky's constant effort to make artifacts that allow people to be immersed, and not only to immerse, but to play into imagining a better future and doing that future. That's what I take away. Otherwise, I'm grateful. So, Steve, how do you feel? What do you take away?
Well, I look at what Bucky was trying to do to get everybody to notice what's going on the planet and how everything seems to have gone in completely the opposite direction. Here's the sphere in Las Vegas, and there's nothing. Well, I'm sure that I've heard people tell me that when they drove by the sphere, it looked like the Earth, so they thought they were like in a going around the Earth in a spaceship. When they were in their car, they could see the Earth over there, rotating underneath them. So I think it's going to do a lot, but the idea of actually integrating a personal experience instead of it being a show with 18,000 seats all focused on one side of the sphere to present a show that they could sell tickets to. I'm sure those tickets, I didn't look to see how much it would cost to get in to see U2. I'm sure it's $80 or $100. I don't know. It's probably more than that. I don't know. It just seems to me that we've gone off in the other direction. And with virtual reality, with TV screens now, with LCDs, the hope is that we're getting there in micro. In other words, people, the craziness that's gone on with this Palestinian Israeli conflict and how people have overreacted, students in America particularly have overreacted and taken sides without looking at both sides. People, it's like, here's Bucky trying to have the news of the world projected onto the world so people get a context of where it's happening. We have people in Palestine and people in Jerusalem, people in Israel. They're right next door to each other. They can't see through the wall to see what's going on. Wow. And then, of course, there's these students in America that, it's hard to take. There's a lot of wrong that's been done by the Palestinians, and let's just pray that, too many Palestinians have died. They're at some point, it was, I think, Oh my gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Who's the guy who said if we do an eye for an eye, everybody ends up blank? Mandela. Everybody ends up blind. If we live our world eye for an eye, everybody ends up blind. When is the world going to see that? When is the world going to? Here are the Palestinians and the, I don't mean to be so political, but here they are over there. You know, when Abraham, the father of the Palestinians and the Jews, he was given ground, and him and his brother, and he just said to his brother, pick what you want. And his brother picked all the luscious benches with all the trees and everything, and Abraham took the desert. And 10 years later, Abraham was rich, and his brother, all the rich people went and took everything away from his brother. He had to go grab his brother and flee for his life because his brother picked the wealth, and Abraham just humbly said, well, I'll take what's ever left over. You know, when is somebody in our planet going to do the most loving thing, the most outrageously loving, compassionate thing, and say, okay, yeah, a lot of crap's gone on, but it's going to end right now. We're going to be kind. And we're going to look to our father Abraham, and we're going to follow his example. Wow. So anyway, we live in a crazy world. I'm amazed with what we're reading, and I'm going to go have to integrate it more. I did a meditation last night, and I had a huge insight on macro and micro, huge insight on zeroth dimension. And I've written up some stuff, and I'm very excited about it. I'm so grateful for Bucky and his idea of topology, because I've been so addicted to measuring things by how big they are, not based on what they are. Like, how big is that mountain? Okay, what's the definition of a mountain in the first place? I mean, I'm just so grateful for the conversations we've been having, and that I get to participate in. All right, guys, that's it for me. We'll have the correct time on next week's call, and I think Anne said she'd be gone for a couple weeks, so it just may be us again next time. Joe, blessings to you and your family.
Thanks. Thank you. It's a tough time.
Blessings to you and to your family, Joe. Don't beat yourself to a pulp. Don't wear yourself down to a nub. Okay? Take care of yourself too.
Yeah.
Will you stop the recording?
Okay. And by the way, we're 1 minute before our appointed time to end.
Just I want to poke you.